Alright guys, today we're going to be doing another mobile mechanic work day. Stay tuned. Alright, so on this first job here we've got a Toyota Camry. We're going to be doing a headlights not working inspection, which is actually just to reposition the housing into the body of the vehicle a little better. And then we're also going to be doing an oil change and a blower motor and resistor replacement. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the oil change here. Get this pan put in place. Go ahead and get this here drain plug out. It's going to be a 14 millimeter on these Toyotas. Most of them anyway. Unless somebody screwed it up and it's been replaced with something different. Alright. Now we got that draining. I'm going to attempt to loosen up the filter. It's going to be right here. I'll probably need a pair of pliers for that one. Let me move you guys over here. Hold on a second. Move you guys over here so you can kind of see where the filter's at. It's directly under or above my finger. So I'm gonna go ahead and get something to pull that out with. Got us a good old pair of channel locks here. Let's see if those will get it to turn a little. Ah, come on. Man. These tiny oil filters, they always get turned on so damn tight. I really don't want to take this off. I don't have to get a better angle on it. Let me try one more time here. Come on, baby. Just freaking turn. Let's try the claw. Probably too small. I don't think I got anything small enough to get that off besides this. That's gonna work either. Let's try this. Wow. Whoops. That thing's really on there, guys. I love it when that happens. Seriously, guys, that was one of the most pain in the ass oil filters that I've had to deal with for quite some time. It was just extremely tight on there, did not want to come off. I did end up having to take the front cover here off a little bit. I put it back already, but I ended up taking that off just to get a little better access. And then I used the claw, and that bad boy got it off. I ended up kind of having to cock it sideways as I was twisting it to get it to grab, but luckily the claw did work out. I tried damn near every oil filter tool that I got. Finally got it off. We got our oil put in there, good old mobile one. Now we're going to move on to this headlight. Okay, so we got this headlight here, and the customer just wants this to be fixed. He wants it to be put back in. So I don't know if they just replaced the bulb and put it in wrong, or if there's some actual body damage. But I'm going to take the 10mm bolt right here out, and maybe this one. I'm going to try to pull the bumper back a little bit and see what's going on. Alright, so it looks to me like someone just kind of screwed it up a little bit. You can see right there where there's a little piece missing. So that piece is right here, and it was like on there crooked, so it wasn't able to go on properly. And since it was already, mostly broke off anyway, I just went ahead and finished it off. And that is more of just a guide pin rather than a mounting spot. And now it seems to be in there pretty good. If I just put the bolts in, I think we'll be good to go. Alright, so I think that's in there pretty decent now. Had just a slight bit of wobble because there's a couple of broken components on the back of this headlight assembly. The only way to properly fix it would probably be to replace the whole thing, but the customer just wanted it to be put back in to where it's kind of flush with the body again, and we've done that. It was just a little wobbly after I finished putting it in, but after I stuffed a couple shop towels in there and got it nice and rigged up, nice and solid now. Obviously that's not a proper repair, but looks a hell of a lot better than it did before. Now we're going to move on to the blower motor. Okay, so now we're on the blower motor and resistor. That hole right there is where the resistor goes. And you can see the blower motor here. And I can see 1 and 2. But I think that the third one is covered up by something. Might be... I can't really tell. It's probably covered by that air duct, I bet. Anyway, we got the resistor out. And I had to use my tiny little screwdriver there because that's about the only thing that'll fit in there. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get this motor removed now. Alright, so we were able to finally get it out. I got the bolts out. We did have to take that little air duct out to physically remove it. Of course, they designed it where just taking the bolts out isn't enough. So in order to get that duct off, I did have to take off the glove box, and it just attaches right there. And it's got one of these little push pins that holds it in at the bottom here. So now that I got that out, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take this new one here and put it in the vehicle. Alright, so now we're all finished up with that. Everything's good to go. Got our blower motor and resistor reinstalled. Now we just got to put that cover on, put the glove box back in, and we are all finished up. I did go ahead and test it to make sure that it's working. It is working. It was a little bit noisy, sounded a little restricted, so I decided to check the cabin filter, and oh boy, that is rather dirty indeed. So we will be recommending one of those. Also forgot to mention, today we're replacing the regular air filter. That one is dirty as well. So we're going to get all this stuff buttoned back up and move on to the next job. Alright guys, next job, 2014 F-150 Thermostat Replacement, 5 liter. I believe we got to get this bad boy off first. And I think this hose right here goes up to the thermostat. We'll figure it out once we can see what's going on under there. Okay guys, I was wrong. It's actually the lower hose here. So we'll take this hose off and then we can get at the 8mm bolts that hold the housing on. Alright, so we got the hose off, got the thermostat changed out, got that housing back on. There's the old one, and it just comes out just like that, and there's an O-ring that sits on top of it, and then the housing goes down on top of that. There's only 2 bolts on the housing. So now I'm going to go ahead and put that hose back on and we'll be pretty much all finished up. Hopefully that cardboard did its job. Alright, so now that we got that hose back on, I'm going to spray that belt down a little bit with some brake cleaner, make sure that coolant isn't on there. And then just got to put this air intake tube back on and fill her up. We got her all filled up. No leaks from the thermostat area, no noise from the belt. So I think we're good to go. On to the next job. Alright, so the last job of the day is going to be a car is not starting inspection on a Scion XD. Customer says that it seems to have power, but it won't actually turn over, and he thinks that it may be a fuel issue. So we're going to go ahead and try to start it, see what it does. Alright, here's the vehicle, all oranged out. I'm going to grab the key here. We'll see what it does. It sounds like it wants to start. Definitely not a battery issue or anything. So I like to go with the old test, and we'll maybe try some starter fluid type stuff. I also want to just turn the key and listen for the fuel pump. Yeah, I'm not hearing anything at all from the fuel pump, so we'll see what's going on here. We'll get the hood open. I'll come over here and probably spray some brake cleaner or something up into the air intake. Yeah, we'll probably take this hose off right here and see what happens. Actually decided to just take that off, so we'll go ahead and put some brake cleaner in there. Alright, went ahead and sprayed some right down in that hole. So we'll come back over here, see what it does now. Oh yeah, we definitely have a fuel issue, 100%. 100%. And I didn't hear that fuel pump come on. So now we want to try to get access to the fuel pump, see if it's getting power, seeing if it's got a good ground, and all that good stuff. So I decided to scratch that because the back seat on this vehicle is a huge pain to try to remove, and there's not really an easy fuel pump relay to access. So I'm going to just try to turn the fuel pump on and off with my Topdon scan tool here, and I'm going to listen for the sound that way. I found a diagnostic trouble tree on Mitchell, so I'm just going to kind of follow that and go from there. So once I get this all set up here, I'll show you what we're doing. Alright guys, so we have confirmed that it is not a fuel pump problem. Listen here. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. Let me try to get you down here a little bit. We'll do one from the back for good measure. I hope you guys can hear that. So that proves out the fuel pump being the issue. A lot of guys would just want to throw a fuel pump in here as soon as they spray the brake cleaner in there and realize that it's a fuel issue. But our real issue is that the computer is not turning the fuel pump on for some reason. So in the diagnostic trouble tree, the next thing it says to do is see if there is a starter command being sent to the PCM, because if the engine computer doesn't know that the engine is starting, then it's of course not going to turn on the fuel pump. So that's going to be the next thing we're going to check here. Okay, so according to the diagnostic trouble tree, we are supposed to check and see if the fuel pump turns on with a scan tool, which it does. If it does turn on, it wants us to check the starter signal, which I did that just a moment ago, and it is good. We're supposed to have an off signal with the key in the on position, and we're supposed to have an on signal with the key in the start position. So that is what we had just a moment ago. We're going to go to read data stream. And then it says if your starter signal is good, then it wants you to check engine speed as well. If the engine speed checks out, it says to replace the engine computer. If the engine speed does not check out, it says to repair the crankshaft position sensor circuit. So we're about to find out right now whether a crank sensor circuit issue is the cause, or whether this is an engine speed related issue. Okay, now I remember what I was looking at. Starter control. We'll hit OK. Come on now. OK. We're going to get both of these on the graph here. And then I'm going to turn the key. It actually started a little bit too, because I don't know if it's because there's some of that brake cleaner in there still. Interesting. Alright, so my scan tool disconnected for some reason. I think it might be because the battery was going low. So I got it just on the engine speed here, so it doesn't slow anything down, and we're not trying to read too much data at once. We'll go ahead and turn the key, and you can see that we are in fact getting a constant RPM signal here. And what's really weird is every time I do that and then it stops trying to start, the computer or not the computer, but the fuel pump goes bzzz for a second after that. But I think that if the engineers are correct when they made this diagnostic trouble tree here, that we are looking at a failed engine computer here. We have a good starter signal. We have engine speed being recorded to the computer, and the fuel pump is not turning on at the proper time. So I believe on this vehicle we do need to replace the engine computer. Alright, and that's going to be the end of our mobile mechanic workday video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And looks like about 80% of you guys that are watching here are not subscribed. I'd like to lower that number significantly, trying to get up to that 500 subscriber mark. We're real close. So if we could get that accomplished, I'd really appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys watching, and I will see you next time.